Hi everyone, Very Cute GM here. So this is an introduction video of what happened from the last session if you didn't want to watch session 1, entire session 1. And I understand it clocked in at 3.5 hours. So what happened last time in the conclave? My adventurers were separated at some point. Well, they were separated because they were attending the conclave, which is an event where organizations around the world get together and meet to discuss issues that are affecting them and possible ways that other organizations can help. About 20 years ago, a Edward Snowden type gentleman named William Triffica had released records of monumental events happening and other organizations not being part of these events. For example, there was a group of adventurers who killed the king Wuchatkral's Turog. There was another group of adventurers who defeated a gentleman named Ose, who was going to release a plague to wipe out all Fey kind on the western continent. Nobody knew about these events. Well, hardly anybody knew about these events, and the organization decided, hey, we're going to hold an event called the Conclave every 2 years, so we can discuss shit that's happening. So that's what my players were doing. They were attending this conclave. Hwinnil the Elf Druid was attending this conclave as a volunteer healer. Gal, the dwarf barbarian, was in charge of his charge, who was part of the royal family from Ironfast, land of the dwarves. Razor was also looking after his charges, who were part of Nature's Privilege, a druid order in Pondera. Bronn, the bard, was given the task to look after Elena, Robert, and William of the royal family from Leona. Arcos was just a militiaman who was serving in Wingfall, the town that the conclave was being held at this year. And Merchant was selling trombones. I think that's everyone. The ranger hasn't come in yet. So, everybody's doing their whole thing when a huge rift opens up in the council chambers of where the conclave is happening, sucking most of the important members, if not all of the important members through, including the king of Dornithil, king of the High Elves, and including the king of Algor, the king of the Northern Lands. So they decided, after the rift opened, they braved through it and went after the people who turned out to be spine devils and imps, who captured their friends and charges and defeated them. Unfortunately, the rift at this point had closed, and they also discovered that they were in the Dragonland, Skorok, where a lot of dragons used to hang out a lot. They don't really hang out anymore. They also found out they were 36 years in the past via a patrol that was walking by telling them, hey, you shouldn't be in this area. The forces of Tiamat might be out and about. The forces of Tiamat were driven from Skorok in the present time. 36 years ago, there was a war called the War of the Dragon, which was a war where there was a mountain where legend claims that where the king of Terra was defeated by the dragon Io, which had at that point split into Bahamut and Tiamat. There is a scale of Io that's still there, Io or Io, and it's said to hold immense power. That's why the Tiamat and Bahamut forces right now are fighting over that mountain to find it. But there's 36 years in the past, so they're headed to a town called Flame Crest right now, where a large part of the Bahamut army is actually staying. How are they going to get back? Who knows? Why don't you guys watch? Cool. Alright, so last time I forgot to give you guys loot for the imps and the spine devils that you killed. So As I said before, you guys had 150 experience each. You found 50 gold pieces of gems, rubies, pretty much. I'll keep a log just in case you guys need an extra pair of writing hands. You also found a spell scroll of a 5th level spell, which is Cone of Code. So that might be useful one of these days. You also found an elixir of health, which is not like a healing potion, but it pretty much removes blind, disease, deafness, poison, and paralyzed. So just in case somebody gets diseased and like mummy rot or something, then you can use that. You also have a potion of reduce. So it acts like the reduce/enlarge spell. You become small or tiny. You can, go into small spaces. You get disadvantage on your strength throws if you choose to use this potion. And the last thing I rolled pretty well for you guys is a parapet of health. A parapet of health is a necklace, which is in the shape of a heart gem. And anybody who wears this is immune to disease. If you wear this while you have a disease, it suppresses the disease itself.
Wow.
So it's actually you could keep it, you could sell it, whatever you guys want to do with it. You're going to a town, so if you feel like you don't need the parapet of health or any of these, you could probably sell it for a bit of money if you need it. Does anybody have any questions on the loot?
How many gems did you say we found?
Let's say you found 2 rubies, each worth about 25 gold pieces each. Okay, so last time, a lot of shit happened. You were attending the conclave with your charges when a giant rift opened up in the council chambers, sucked the people participating in the conclave through it. You guys jumped in after them and discovered after killing the demons, that William was partially responsible, brought one of Bronn's charges, who is now tied up in a cart. Also, you discovered that you were 36 years in the past because you came upon a patrol of Platinum Order Paladins who told you, hey, there's a war going on. What the hell are you guys doing on our road without ample protection? And they had offered to guide you to a nearby city called Flame Crest. Flame Crest is pretty much near the middle of Skurrook, not too far from the major battle where the fight over the scale of EO is happening. And just to clarify, EO was the dragon that Bahamut and Tiamat split from, and the scale of EO is said to be on the mountain, which through divine prophecies was said to be there, and now the forces of Tiamat and Bahamut are fighting over the scale itself. The scale is said to have immense power, but nobody has it yet. So, war is still going on, and it's about a year into the war. So, just waiting for... I don't know where he is. And all right, and Razor is trying to find a mic. So it will take you about an hour to get the Flame Crest. It takes about 60. You can travel 60 miles per day through, because of your beasts of burden. That's usually the going rate. 60 miles per day and so many hours a day. So I'll say you'll probably reach Flame Crest in about an hour and a half to 2 hours. The patrol who offered to guide you isn't going too fast, so because woolly rhinos don't go that fast. So you guys are traveling. we take Gao and Merchant out of this picture because they are not here with us currently. And the Window, the white Dragonborn, who's the head of this Platinum Order patrol, starts trying to chit-chat more with Razor. Razor, do you have a functional mic? Or not? Have you tried refreshing? Okay, cool. Alright, and I hear things? Maybe, maybe not. Okay. And Alina is trying to talk to you, Bronn, and she's asking you what is your opinion of William? What should we do with him once we get back? There was a talk of perhaps putting him on trial because he is a noble, but
Okay. I think we should bring him to proper authorities.
She says, well, that might take a while, seeing that we're 36 years in the past, with right now no way to get home. We can't just leave him tied up like this for days on end unless you or she offers the question to anybody who's around her, unless you or the rest of you have some idea about what we should do. And it's clear that he was in contact with whoever did this to us in the first place, which apparently Tweak the Gnome is not much to go on, especially when you're 36 years in the past. I mean, he could be very well an extra pair of eyes for Watch. Then again, he might try to kill me in my sleep, which I wouldn't put it past him at this point if he just accepted help from a random stranger who could be evil and gave him a gem. And she's like, I this is out of my realm of expertise, she says.
Yeah. Well, I say we keep him tied up until we get to town, and we can go from there.
Okay. Okay. That's fine. I just want to know. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, that's pretty standard. Hwinnil, Cat's Paw takes some interest in you because he is a druid, a shapeshifter by expertise, and he gives the reins to he gives the reins to Robert, who volunteered to drive for a while. And he's a dwarf. He takes his place next to you, and he asks you, so he's trying to make small talk with you, like, where are you first of all, he introduces himself as Iron Paw, part of the sect of druids called Nature's Claw, and he asks you, so where are you from, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm from Nanalar.
Oh, okay. And why were you on the Eastern Continent when were you there for the conclave? Did you happen to be there? What were you doing? Because I do not believe I've ever seen you at the conclave before.
No, I just happened to be close by when I heard about the conclave.
Oh, and were you interested in the politics that were happening there, or were you just curious about perhaps the outcome of it, or were you hoping to bring news back somewhere, or something of that nature, perhaps?
Yeah, the outcome, on here if there was any information that was still wild to people, so I can learn something.
It's always good to learn new things, especially when dealing with the non-nature-centric folk of the world. Um, Unfortunately, we were bringing our own news to the conclave about things that was happening within the Druid order. We were actually there for King Dornithil, he said, Cat's Paw says, because there had been a large rise in drow attacking the elven lands, but apparently we didn't get that far into the conclave because look where we are now, and I have no idea. And at that point, the cat that was next to you or traveling with Howard kind of just pokes his head out of your bag again and just looks up at Cat's Paw, and Cat's Paw says, "Oh, I see you're friendly with felines. Do you practice the art of shapeshifting also, or is this a companion of sorts?"
It's a companion of sort.
Oh,
I'm interested in the shapeshifting, but I haven't really come that far in my teachings.
I see. It is a wonderful, wonderful branch of magic. You know, any druid should be honored to dabble in. I myself, you know, hence the name Cat's Paw. He says I usually look to take feline forms. I know several under my own belt. Maybe when this is over, maybe I can give you a lesson or two if we get out of here.
Do you guys hear me?
Yes,
That
we
sounds
hear
lovely.
you.
Welcome.
Welcome back, Razor.
Sound.
Okay, so the Wendell, the white dragonborn, is trying to converse with you, trying to get. You know, he's heard a lot of weird things from your group. He's pretty perceptive. Not, you know, it's pretty good because he tricks other dragonborn because he's a white dragonborn, and white dragons have the tendency to be very animalistic and dumb. So a lot of people think white dragonborns are the same way, when that's not always the case. So he's heard you guys talking, and he couldn't help but either think, and he asks you, Razor, so where exactly are you guys from?
So I'm gonna look him in the eye and say from the future.
Right.
Dun, dun, dun.
You're from the future. How long have you been traveling on this route? And are you suffering from heat stroke? I mean, I'm just concerned about your well-being as well as your companions. Are you you're from the future?
So I'm gonna shrug and say that's the story.
Okay, and why have you come back in the past? This is a pretty pretty crap place to be right now. Unless you're here to tell us that we lose the war and you're coming back to change it, right?
So I'm gonna say, if we knew how we got here, we wouldn't be here anymore. We'd probably take the first chance we get out of here.
I see. Okay. That's fine. Well, good luck. Try not to change the out. Well, just between you and me, do we actually win this war?
So I'm just gonna shrug at him. Keep on going.
All right. I am. You know what? I don't want to know. I'm probably going to be dead by the time this war is over. So.
Most likely.
Yes, most likely. We should be getting close to Flame Crest soon. There's a couple things you should know about the. How much do you? And he addresses all of you. How much do you know about this war we're in right now? About stations or about force number or about anything. And I'd like everybody to roll history on this to see what deeper knowledge they know about what was going on during their own lifetime and what they heard about the war here. Okay. Bronn? Okay, that's fine. Bronn knows a little bit. He knows a little bit. Bronn, you know that until 10 years into the war, that the Bahamut and Tiamat forces were pretty much on equal par with each other. It was difficult to. Sorry, I dropped dice. It was difficult to get good footing on the war until 10 years when the elves actually decided to send help to Skurruk after 10 years passed in the war. And that's how the War of the Dragon eventually, the Bahamut side eventually got the momentum to defeat Tiamat's forces. As far as you know about military strategies and soldier numbers and anything like that, you know that major places in Skurruk, major military strategical places in Skurruk, each had a dragon, a metallic dragon on the Bahamut side. You were not sure about the Tiamat side. Each had a metallic dragon stationed at a major strategic point in Skurruk. It wasn't told in detail what color the dragons were, like, if specific colors, but there was usually a dragon leading from a town or a major strategic point. If you wish to share this with the rest of the party, you may, but you can keep it to yourself if you want to. And Alina and Robert, through their noble upbringing, have been drilled constantly on history, know this too, but they choose to be quiet for now.
Okay. Yeah, I don't really have much to say.
Okay.
I don't think much of it.
All right. Well, Windows says at Flame Crest, it was a mining town converted into a large holding for our troops. There is a general there. She leads our forces. She is a dragon, and I would like it if you can. How badly do you want to get back home? He asks.
Well,
that is a good question.
Do you want to go back home?
I mean, I didn't have that much going for me in the old life.
And they said, it doesn't matter the time period, my god is still here to serve, so it has to be.
I'll probably be called a deserter if I go back to Wingfall.
And you miss, he asks, the Hwinnil.
Yes, I want to go back, and all others that went back in time should also go back to restore the balance.
Fair enough, he says. Well, I can bring you to her, and she's older, of course. She might be able to lead you in the right direction of who to go to bring you back. Time travel magic is way, 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 way. I don't dabble in the arcane at all. I'm a paladin, divine spells. That's my thing. I don't touch I've never even. I didn't even think it was possible to cast time magic. It's a little scary, actually, that perhaps you guys have the power to change the past, which whether or not I think that's good or bad. But you're your own people. I can't, of course, I can't tell you what to do, and I'm not sure what to do at this point myself. So that's all the advice I can give to you. We should be headed into Flame Crest shortly, if you guys wanted to know. Any questions? No?
Will the people of Flame Crest be accepting to outsiders?
Usually they are. You are clearly not Tiamat forces. They are usually fine with civilians. We bring a lot of civilians in who we find on the roads who have tried to flee from Tiamat's forces. There are a lot of good people that are still trapped in those territories, and if once in a while, that's why we patrol these roads. We'll come upon them, we'll take them back, and the refugees will eventually make their way to Dighton, which is, the country right next to us. Unfortunately, because of the way Skorok is, it's very hard to sustain portals here. So teleportation usually is not a means of travel. So that's why we have to bring them to the border so they could go to a better place, so to speak, unless they want to volunteer their services to the army, which most of them are welcome to if they wish it to be. Which, if you don't mind me asking, Razor, Window says, you are a Dragonborn, and you clearly were born around the time, or during the dragon. How old are you, actually? If you don't mind me asking.
I'm gonna look at them in out of character or in.
In character.
I'm just going to say that I'm old enough. I was around during this time.
Okay, so if you can, did you not fight in these wars yourself, or did you choose to stay away from your divine duty?
I'm gonna say when I in this time I had no divine duty.
Okay, that's fine. Fair enough. All of us have our own opinions on what side we should take or what we should do. And I suppose you made your choice in the past also. And he kind of... Give me an insight roll, Razor.
Rolling it now.
Okay. He doesn't have a good opinion of you at this point anymore. He might think, like all other Dragonborn you've met on the Bahamut side, and relatives that try to push you into one side of the war or other, that not participating in the Dragon War is shrinking from your duty as one of Dragon Blood, but he doesn't say that outright. So, but after you say your piece and he says, fair enough, that he becomes quiet and he kind of focuses his attention on the road ahead. At this point, you can see a glow ahead coming from what you think is a large town. It is late afternoon, well, dusk, so lights are beginning to pop up in the distance, signifying it's dusk and people are doing their starting their evening routines, so to speak. So fast forward, you guys get to the town, and I will show you what it looks like, actually. You're over here. Alright. So the town is fairly large. It sits on a plateau. Here is kind of the lower ground area, and up here is the higher ground. It's more like a small town on a large plateau. It is a walled city. It's a walled city, and there are guard towers at two guard towers at each gate. You are entering through. You're climbing up the mountain, and you're entering through this side of the town. And when you arrive at one of the stations at the gate, there is a green Dragonborn who greets all of you. He introduces himself as Lee, and he asks if you have anything to declare on your person. Any explosives. He asks that weapons be sheathed while inside the city unless there is an attack. And if you guys have anything to declare, and how many are in your party.
Anybody? Nothing to declare, he says. No magic items, no... I don't know. So, and he counts. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, 15 of you. Is that all that will be traveling? It's in your caravan today?
Yes, it is.
All right. Welcome to Flame Crest. I hope you have a lovely stay. Please, in case there is an attack, we have certain points in the city where you can go underground with civilians if that is what you want to do. And please don't panic. You'll hear raiding sirens, he says, just in case attacks happen. We have been attacked in the past, but we haven't seen anything for a couple of weeks, so we should be relatively safe. Is there any questions I can answer for you while, like, an inn you want to go to? Do you want to rest at an inn? Is there refugees you're looking for? Anything of that nature?
You say we've been attacked in the past, but this is the past.
Excuse me? And Lee kind of looks at you.
Never mind.
Okay.
Never mind.
Oh, and Window says, "Please forgive them, private." And Lee says, "Oh, okay, sure, whatever." And he lets you all into the city.